Welcome to your Ayurvedic Healing Kitchen. So Ayurvedic diet is crucially important to health because what we eat actually becomes our body tissues, both physically and energetically. It's like the fuel in your car. So if you put good fuel in your car, it's going to run more efficiently and more effectively. If you put bad fuel in your car, it's not going to run very well at all. An Ayurvedic diet and lifestyle actually heals 60% of all diseases and imbalances alone. So once we learn these principles of Ayurvedic diet and apply it to your own life, it really becomes a healing science. So an Ayurvedic diet actually cuts through most of the conflicting information out there. So one research is saying this food is good for us, and then the exact same food, the other research is saying that it's bad for us. Ayurveda is an ancient practice. Its diet has been consumed for thousands and thousands of years. So once you learn these principles, you'll have them in your pocket for the rest of your life. Ayurveda's diet gets nourishment from all of our food only. No supplements are needed at all if you eat the appropriate diet. An Ayurvedic diet also looks at your digestion and your metabolism and how you're using the foods that you're putting into your body. So sometimes people are eating really healthy foods, but they're actually not digesting it very well. In Ayurveda, we call this toxic digestion. So half digested food with half undigested food. This is the toxic mix. We absorb this toxic mix and it spreads throughout the whole tissues, no matter what healthy food you put into your diet. The most fundamental principle in Ayurveda is the principle of balance, and we take this when we're looking at our diet as well. Current society at the moment, we're in a culture of excess, and we're told to take more, even if it's healthy. In Ayurveda, it brings the principle right back to balance, and that includes balance for your particular body type. Everyone has a different body type. So each one of us is made up of the 5 elements. We have ether, air, fire, water, and earth. And everybody has these 5 elements, but in different proportions. Now our food is also made up of the 5 elements, and they're made up in different proportions as well. So Ayurveda really gets to tell you the knowledge of what elements we need for what particular body type to actually balance that person for that supreme health. Now, even more amazingly, each food has a particular taste, predominant taste, and that tells us, that taste, what elements are in that food. So once we learn what elements are in that food, what's our body type, just by tasting it, we'll know what foods we should take. So that's just one amazing principle everyone should know. So for an example, we have a Vata type body type. And Vata types, they need the sweet taste more of, and root vegetables like pumpkin, sweet potato, and beetroot and carrots. Keep them grounded. For an example, Pitta type people need more bitter tasting foods, such as the green leafy vegetables. They're very bitter in taste. They're cooling to the body, which is good for Pitta. And an example for Kapha, we have a lot of chilies and peppers, which ignite the fire and the metabolism in the Kapha body type. So they need more of these sorts of food. Also, the season. In each season, our body takes in the elements from the season, so we have to be able to balance that. The heating principle of summer means that we have to eat more cooling foods. So each food in Ayurveda, we know the actual qualities of the food. For an example, the heating or the cooling quality. Now this can really help us in our health conditions as well. If we know in our health condition that we should be avoiding heating foods, we can have more cooling foods, and we know which ones are which. And this will just, by this alone, really help with your health conditions and their symptoms. Ayurveda also uses diet as a real medicine. So diet is our medicine in Ayurveda. There are certain foods that exhibit amazing health qualities and a special effect over the body. For an example, we have turmeric. So everyone knows that turmeric is wonderful for anti-inflammatory reasons, also anti-cancer reasons, but also it has a special effect for any blood diseases and also any skin problems. So that's one example of a special effect of the food. And once we start to learn what special effects each food has, when we're unwell, we know which foods to have more of, and that's very empowering for everybody. The next overriding principle in Ayurveda is the guna, or the quality of sattva. So all these foods here are sattvic. Sattvic foods are light and easy to digest. So I mentioned before that digestion is crucial for health and to get the nutrients from the food. So they're very easy to digest. So that means they produce very little toxins in the body, nourishing your body. All these foods here are examples of foods that will give you absolutely everything that you need. It's just about learning which ones to have more of and which ones to have in certain times of need. So sattvic foods consist of legumes, grains, nuts and seeds, fruits, vegetables, ginger, turmeric, good quality salt and pepper, jaggery, coconut, honey, ghee, dairy, and an array of spices. All these sattvic foods actually exhibit a quality over the mind. So the sattvic foods, when you eat them, energetically, your mind becomes more peaceful and content. Now, there is a direct link between our mind and the foods that we eat. It definitely affects our emotions and it definitely affects our moods. So the more sattvic foods that we have, the more peace and contentment over the mind that we have. At a deeper level, the mind and digestion is very much linked as well. So when we're feeling maybe scared or nervous, we're feeling very nauseous in the stomach, or we lose our appetite. So that's just one example of how the mind is connected to your digestive system. Ayurvedic diet expands on just what foods you eat. It's your relationship with food, meaning how do you eat the food? So are we eating in a rush? Are we eating watching TV? Are we scoffing it down really fast and not even tasting the food? So it is a process of enjoyment and nourishment to the body, and recognizing that as a specific relationship with the food, diet becomes a very nourishing relationship. Ayurvedic diet talks about guidelines of how we should eat, not just what we should eat. It talks about when should we eat in the day. We go into the natural cycles of the day, and our body follows those natural cycles called circadian rhythms. So when to eat our main meal and how much to eat according to your level of health. And we're always assessing that on a daily basis. Once you learn those principles, you'll know how to do that. Ayurveda also talks about a list of incompatible foods, which means what foods shouldn't be eaten with others. For an example, fruit and vegetables. In Ayurveda, they are incompatibles, which means when you put them together and you eat them together, they become toxic to your body because fruits digest at a much quicker rate than the vegetables. So although you're getting all those nutrients at the one time, it's becoming toxic in the body. So we don't want to do that. So there's a list of incompatible foods which we must be aware of. Also a list of toxic foods which we should really eliminate, if not just reduce. Ayurveda talks about how to optimally cook and prepare each food as well. There's certain foods that need a cooking process to them, and certain foods that can be taken raw, or certain foods that should sprinkle a bit of black pepper or lemon juice to break it down. So it's all in the preparation and the process of cooking of the food as well. So we have to learn how to use these foods to get the maximum benefit. For an example, in Ayurveda, green leafy vegetables are very, very hard to break down, even harder to break down than meat. So we say that has to be cooked really, really well with some spices to aid in the digestion process. Also, milk. Milk needs to be organic and whole, but it also needs to be brought to the boil. So this changes the properties of milk and no longer makes it mucus producing, or what we say kapha producing, and doesn't produce allergies like it would if you have cold milk. The last principle I want to talk to you about is optimizing digestion and metabolism. All Ayurvedic diet does that. So we want that digestion to be really efficient and effective, producing very little toxins, breaking everything down, absorbing it well, and getting it through the whole body's tissues well. There's certain foods which increase metabolism and help with the digestion process. And in Ayurveda, that's why we use a lot of the spices. All spices help and aid in digestion. Now, Ayurveda is that art of balance, so we don't overspice food. So if you might be used to a very heavy Indian curry, it's definitely not like that. It's very balanced. So it's about learning how to use just small amounts to create a very, very nourishing meal. So now it's time to start creating your Ayurvedic healing kitchen. So it's best if we create a really supportive environment in our own homes. When we're addicted to these unhealthy and unwholesome foods, they're in our kitchen, we'll most likely eat them. So while we're detoxifying from these addictions, let's get them out. So 3 things I want you to eliminate from your kitchens today is frozen foods. So all frozen foods in Ayurveda have no prana, which means life force. So they have all those nutrients, but they're missing that life force in them. You don't want that food. The second one is your microwave. Chuck out your microwave. That also kills all the prana. The third one is chuck out any white sugars and white breads, any white processed foods. These are very hyperactive to the mind and will not create that peace of harmony in mind and body. So 3 things that you might not be aware of that you can add to your Ayurvedic healing kitchen is we've got ghee. So ghee in Ayurveda is extremely sattvic. So it creates a peace of harmony over the mind, but also it nourishes the whole nervous system. So it helps with any anxiety, depression, vata imbalances, but also that sense of contentment. So use ghee in your cooking. The second Ayurvedic food I'd recommend that you have in your healing kitchen is pomegranate juice. So pomegranate juice is high in iron, antioxidants, and in Ayurveda we say it builds our rasa, that joy, that contentment, and also nourishing our blood, giving good blood to all of our tissues. It is our Ayurvedic energy drink, so when you're feeling low, it's instead of going for an extra coffee, which is a stimulant, go for a pomegranate juice, which is nourishment for your body. The third food is black salt. So black salt is very alkalining to the body. It has many, many minerals more than pink salt, and it also acts as a food which gets rid of cysts and growths in the body. So that's its special effect on the body. So lastly, fill your kitchens with fresh, organic, sattvic foods and learn how to process and cook them and eat them well for your own body type and the season. And once you learn these principles, you'll be able to apply them to many styles of food as well, not just Ayurvedic Indian cooking. Main key messages through today's video were: we must consume a nutritious, balanced diet for good health and move away from the excess and more modern-day culture of diet. Without balance, health is impossible to achieve. Each food holds certain qualities in which, when we learn, we understand what foods to eat for our own body type, imbalances, diseases, and for what season, to achieve that constant balance through nutrition and a peaceful state of mind. An Ayurvedic diet is not just what you eat, it is how you eat and how well you digest the food and gain the optimum nutrition from the food while producing no toxins, as toxins can be the cause of many diseases and premature aging. If you want to learn more in depth about these principles of Ayurvedic diet and also many more Ayurvedic principles into lifestyle and health, medicines and so on, please join us for more through our Living and Learning RU online programs and also Living RU TV, where I run through these key concepts to health. We also offer individualized health consultations and yoga therapy sessions to really target your own health needs to make you feel amazing. So join us into living and learning more Ayurveda.